Hello there, this is Kyle.
And this is Benny.
And you're listening to The Doctor's Watcher,
the statue enthusiasts podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
the show where I, Kyle, watch Doctor Who. No, okay. I'm Benny, that's Kyle. I played a little prank on you, but I'm actually Benny.
Or are you?
I got that gag from Oh No, Ross and Carrie, which I've been listening to lately. It's a podcast, another podcast. A more well-known one than this one, I think. Certainly a more professionally produced one.
Yeah.
But they sometimes start with saying each other's names instead of their own. So
We do have dozens of listeners, though.
at least dozens of downloads, whether those are listeners or bots or... I always think that there's people who subscribed at one point and forgot to unsubscribe, and now their device is just quietly like downloading episodes that never get listened to. But
if you feel like subscribing on a few devices, that's fine too.
I mean, downloads are great, but what we actually like is when actual humans are listening to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you dig our show, please let us know. I mean, this is fun. I enjoy doing it. I just enjoy hearing about Doctor Who, but I also do it in the hopes that someone out there is enjoying it. And
yeah. We like it when actual humans or any other sentient being listens.
It's true. Even our lords and masters, the monoids.
We don't want to discourage any monoids from listening.
No, indeed. We don't want the heat ray. No, don't give us the heat ray. No. I guess it's not heat rays. It's a heat prod.
Heat prod, yeah, that's what they called it.
And does it film negativize? I forgot to ask this in the previous episode.
I think it mostly smokes, if I remember right.
You got smoked. Smoke 'em.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Yep. Well, cool. Anything else you've been up to since... we're just recording this one after the last one, so we caught up earlier, but... Was there anything else you wanted to say for this episode?
I did take a little mini vacation a week or two ago. And
cool.
Yeah, went down to Aptos, which is just down the road from Santa Cruz a little bit. And I got a little sort of studio, bedroom, cabin-ish, treehouse-ish type thing in the woods. And stayed there for a few days. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. That sounds awesome. I'm glad you did that. You deserve it, Kyle. Treat yourself.
Matilda, are you going to come join us for the episode?
We need our little co-host.
Hi, kitty.
I see Kyle leaning down. He's petting something off screen.
Now she doesn't want to speak since she's in the room now.
Oh, okay. But maybe if we tell her about an episode of Doctor Who.
Indeed. So let's tell her about the 29th episode of Season 3, The Bomb.
Yes, this episode is The Bomb. We made that joke in the previous one, too. Man, listeners, if you think that we're not going to just keep making the same jokes over and over again, you're listening to the wrong podcast.
So the fourth episode of the arc is The Bomb.
Yes, I thought they were all The Bomb, but this one especially. And, normally I ask Kyle how he watched it, but for this serial we know that the whole thing exists. So he watched this one on BritBox and saw the actual episode.
I did. It's, pretty luxurious to actually watch an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, isn't it wild that we have a show about watching Doctor Who, and then when you actually get to watch Doctor Who, it feels like a special treat?
So as a slight spoiler to whether I recommend the serial, I won't fully give my answer yet, but just the fact that it fully exists on BritBox at this point is almost enough to recommend it in and of itself.
It's certainly a point in its favor.
So would you remind us of our cliffhanger?
Yes, so we found out about the bomb. So our heroes and the ark that they were on with the monoids and the humans on it, the newly in charge monoids, has reached the planet Refusus 2, which seems to have invisible people on it. And the Doctor and Dodo are on this planet. They were taken down as the first landing party, along with a monoid in a red shirt. The red shirt got, and the monoid got blowed up, along with the landing vessel. And we found out that when we found out about the bomb is on the statue, the one that was going to be a giant human but became a giant monoid over 700 years. And it's a fission bomb that's going to blow up the whole ship after all the monoids have left, blowing up all the humans, including the miniaturized ones that got left behind.
Right. The billions upon billions of miniaturized humans who are basically in cold storage.
Yes.
So we pick up with the monoids on the Ark. 1 and 3, I guess all the monoids are on the Ark at this point because 2 is the only one on the planet. And 2 got blowed up.
Yep. 2 is now all over the planet.
1 and 3 are wondering why 2's report about Refusus was cut off.
It could mean a simple break in communications, or that he was attacked.
I think we know which of those it was. I mean, technically both, but...
Of course, they only heard the good part of the report, since 2 was cut off before he talked about the invisible Refusians. So they decide to just go ahead and proceed with all of their plans.
Yeah, seems legit. No news is good news.
Another monoid, 4, complains to his neighbor about the possibility of 1 being wrong.
And is the neighbor 5?
You know, I don't think we ever actually learned the neighbor's name, so I think it must be.
Okay.
3 notices this and points it out to 1, who says that it'll be no problem to get rid of 4 if he shows any signs of opposition.
Oh, shit.
And 1 also uses this as an opportunity to remind us of the premise of the episode.
Remember the final answer, which is locked in the head of that statue.
You know, I can't say I love that they're calling it the final answer. It's a little too close to...
It's not the best phrasing.
Not loving that. But I will say, for when he warned 4, that you could say that he was forewarned. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 1 and 3 definitely do some forewarning.
Yes.
Down on the surface, Dodo and the Doctor are in the castle talking to an invisible Refusian.
Yep.
The Refusians have apparently never had any war or conflict, only peace.
And very cool, but also good luck with that when the monoids arrive.
Yeah, they're pretty concerned that the arrival of the Ark is going to fuck all of this up, which is why they destroyed the lander before it could return to the Ark.
Very cool. I mean, I guess now, like it or not, violence has come to Refusus.
Yeah.
Refusus.
Yeah, I guess it's technically not war or conflict yet, but definitely
violence. Feels like a conflict at least.
Yeah, that's fair. Dodo mentions that the humans 700 years ago were peaceful, but the Doctor points out that they were also pretty racist and shitty to the monoids, which is why the monoids rose up against them.
Mm-hmm.
Dodo thinks that some of the current humans would be willing to rise up against the monoids and then not be racist or shitty to them. So the Refusians decide to give things a little bit of time to settle after the Ark arrives.
I feel like historically that's not how it happens. When different groups of people are rising up against each other, usually when the one that was on the bottom comes out on top, they don't take that opportunity to stop being shitty to the other group.
Right.
It sucks, but it's also resulted in kind of a lot of the situations that we find ourselves in the world. A lot of the more unfortunate situations.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Dodo thinks that this might happen, so the Refusians decide to give things some time.
We will wait for the passing of 1 day before we think in terms of employing defensive measures.
Yes, 1 day. Thank you.
Yeah, hope it doesn't take too long. 1 day seems like long enough for the overthrow of a ruling people, a ruling class.
Yeah, totally.
Start and finish your revolution on the same day. Why not?
You can settle 700 years of conflict in a single day. Sure.
Better wake up early.
In the kitchen on the Ark, where Stephen is being held as an enslaved worker along with the other humans, he notices the monoids preparing to leave the Ark and starts hatching a plan to escape.
Nice. Would you say he's cooking up a plan?
He is indeed.
Yes.
That is what the kitchen is doing. So he learns from his fellow kitchen workers that the door, leading out of the kitchen basically only opens from the outside. But, sometimes it gets opened by the collaborator, whose name is Maharis.
Yeah, the guy who brought us news last time of the plan that the monoids have to basically kill all the humans, even though he didn't find out where the bomb was. Right.
Yeah, he's like the personal servant of one. So none of the other humans trust him, basically.
Yeah, I've been wondering, now that 2's dead, does that mean 3 is 2? Does everyone just move up by 1?
Uh-huh. So the other human workers basically tell Stephen that Maharis is too chicken shit to actually help them.
Dang.
So Stephen decides to manipulate Maharis into helping them without knowing it.
Okay, interesting plan.
Elsewhere on the Ark, some other humans are loading up trays of miniaturized cold storage monoids into the landing modules.
Huh. I guess I didn't realize that there were cold storage miniaturized monoids, too.
Yeah, they didn't really go into it earlier, I think.
Interesting. Cool, though. I mean, good for them.
Uh-huh. One dismisses Maharis and then starts scoffing to 3 about how Maharis and the other, quote, subject guardians, which is what they call the collaborators, basically all still believe that they'll get to go to Refusus with the monoids.
Yeah, being a collaborator or I think it's also called a collaborationist, doesn't usually go well for those people.
Yeah, it often ends poorly, whether it's at the hand of their oppressors or at the hand of their fellow oppressed. It often ends poorly for them.
Yeah.
We cut back to the kitchen area where Stephen and one of the women, Venusa, are covering something up with blankets.
Very cool name, Venusa. I'm into it.
Uh-huh. Maharis shows up with a tray of food, and Stevenusa distracts him by asking for news, and then they start telling him that the monoids aren't going to take him with them. And while he is thus distracted, Dasuk sneaks out into the corridor where he has to hide from a few monoids, and then Maharis, still in the kitchen, asks where Dasuk is. He notices Dasuk's not around, and Stevenusa says that he's sleeping, and they point to the blankets that they set up a few minutes ago.
Oh, clever.
And Maharis believes this and leaves. And after he leaves, Dasik, of course, opens the door, letting Stephen and Venusa and everybody else out of the kitchen. And Stephen reminds them all that the first step of their plan is to go find the bomb.
I mean, technically the first step of their plan was getting out of the kitchen. That's already done, so
Yeah.
I think we should all, pat ourselves on the back. Job well done. Let's just celebrate our victories as they happen.
Yeah, totally. The monoids are now getting themselves into landers and preparing to depart, even though they still have not had any new contact from 2 on the surface. 4 is still concerned about this plan and tells 5 that they'll have to decide when they land on Refusus whether or not 1 should remain the leader.
If Refusus is dangerous, we must return to the Ark before it is destroyed.
I feel like that would be such a bummer, though. Like, you've just gone on this 700-year trip, or even longer, I think, because it was already underway when we arrived.
Right, yeah.
The PCs. Multiple generations have passed. And then it's like, well, that planet's a bust. Let's find another one. Off we go again.
700 plus more years.
Yep. Maybe we should do a little more research this time. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Still wild to me that they knew that the planet was inhabited and decided to go for it anyway.
Yeah, seriously. I guess it might have implied that, they knew about the Refusians and that they were welcome.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
I think it's not fully clear.
I guess they are pretty peaceful. Well, other than the blowing up the lander part.
3 asks 1 about the bomb, and 1 says that basically the timer is all set for it to go off in 12 hours.
Dang.
The landing pods all leave the Ark, and Maharis, who is still on the Ark, finally realizes that he's fucked along with everyone else. And Stephen tells everyone that we've got to find that bomb. And then he tells Venusa that they've got to find a way down to Refusus.
Very cool.
On the surface, the landing modules all land, and 1 disembarks and declares dominion over the planet.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Good. Everything seems to be quiet. And from this moment on, this planet is ours.
Okay. Just tossing a little colonialism in there.
Yeah. 3 notices the destroyed lander and realizes that this is why 2 didn't complete the report. Hi, kitty.
He's like, oh, so that's what happened to Yes, exactly. Oh, Matilda.
1's just like, oh, cool. We'll just destroy whoever destroyed the lander.
Matilda's here to find out who destroyed the lander.
4's like, fuck this. As soon as we get a chance, we need to challenge 1's authority. Then we need to take a lander back to the Ark before the bomb goes off.
Yeah, let's make an alliance with 7. Everyone's afraid of him. Do you know why?
Because 7 is a cannibal.
Exactly. For those of you who don't know that old chestnut, the punchline is because 7, 8, 9. Anyway, please continue, Kyle.
So Dodo and the Doctor have been hiding and watching all these landing modules land and everything. And so when all the monoids leave the area, the 2 of them sneak into a lander and close the door.
Oh, okay. I guess that works. I mean, if they leave, they can fly back to the Ark, get in the TARDIS, and GTFO.
Yeah, I think that's their idea. Up on the Ark, Steve and USA are on the main control deck, and they receive a call from a lander. Of course, it's the Doctor. The Doctor tells them that the Ark is going to blow up, which they already knew. Steven asks if the Doctor knows where the bomb is, which the Doctor doesn't, but he intends to find out.
Okay, I mean, you don't have a whole lot of time for that, but I have faith in him. He's the Doctor.
He also says that he'll send some landers back to the Ark, and yeah, then Steven and the other humans basically continue their search.
Okay.
This podcast is amazing. Amazing. The emissaries from the 7 planets will arrive as arranged, and we will tell them all about this podcast.
Tell your friends.
Write a review and leave it with a 5-star rating. We obey.
Inside the lander, Dodo is asking the Doctor for specifics on the plan, and it turns out that there's an invisible Refusian in the lander with them, who also wants to know what the plan is.
Are they surprised, or are they like, oh yeah, it's you, hey buddy?
I think it's more of the second, yeah.
Okay.
The Doctor asks the Refusian to fly the landers back to the Ark, because that way the monoids won't know who's taking them.
That makes sense.
So then he and Dodo exit the lander, they greet 3, and behind them, the lander launches, and 3's like, what the fuck, who's flying that? We haven't seen anybody since we arrived. And the Doctor's like,
Well, to tell the truth, neither have we.
I love it.
up on the Ark, Maharis is moping at the base of the statue. Steven asks him if he's checked the statue for the bomb, which he hasn't.
What's the use? There's nothing there.
Well, you might want to check anyway.
He's basically bummed out because he trusted the monoids. Steven starts telling him to get a fucking grip on himself and grow a fucking spine, but he gets interrupted by the news that a lander has returned and it was empty.
Or was it?
And of course, as they look into the seemingly empty lander, they hear Refusian laughter come from it.
Mm-hmm.
Down on the planet, the monoids ask the Doctor where the Refusians are, and he maintains that he doesn't know because he hasn't seen any.
Technically true.
Yeah, the only one that he definitely knew the location of isn't around anymore because he went up to the Ark, so...
Mm-hmm.
The monoids start discussing among themselves, and 4 takes this opportunity to challenge 1's authority.
You have led us to this planet and placed us all in danger.
Get him. Get him, 4.
1 basically tells 4 to go back to the Ark then, which 4 says he will, only to face the danger that 1 left there, the fission device.
Yeah.
1 basically reveals that it's in the statue, which is really heavy, so it's going to be really hard for them to get rid of it.
Okay.
Of course, as soon as 1 reveals the location of the bomb, the Doctor and Dodo make meaningful eye contact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
4 and a few other monoids leave the group, I guess 4 and 5 and whoever else. 1 says that they'll destroy these monoids first and then deal with the Doctor and the Refusians later.
Huh. I didn't realize we'd already gone as far as destroying their fellow monoids.
Yeah, I thought they were just going to let them go back to the Ark and get blown up, but apparently they want to kill them even before that.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like sending them back to the Ark is a less, I don't know. I mean, it's still not great, given that it is going to blow up. Yeah, I don't know.
On the Ark, Steven recommends splitting the party. He thinks some people should go to the surface to help the Doctor, and the rest should stay on the Ark and continue looking for the bomb.
I mean, it seems like the people going down to the surface to help the Doctor might stand a slightly better chance if we're worried that this bomb could go off in any second.
Yeah, Maharis kind of wonders why anyone should stay behind on the Ark at all, but Steven reminds him that the Ark is still full of trays of miniaturized humans representing like the entire Earth population.
Yeah, there's that.
Maharis is basically like, fuck them, and Venusa is like, fuck you, you're in the landing party.
Nice.
So after all the other people leave, Steven tells Venusa that she could have gone with them, but she says that they don't need her, and Steven does, because he doesn't know the Ark.
Very cool, very cool. I mean, if we weren't already calling this Stevenusa, then we would start now.
Uh-huh. They smile at each other. The Stevenusa continues the search for the bomb, and the camera operator focuses the camera on the statue in the background.
Yeah, y'all were so close when I think it was Steven who was asking the collaborationist guy, what was his name again?
Maharis. Yeah,
when he was asking him if he'd checked the statue yet.
Uh-huh.
Should have followed up on that.
In the Refusian jungle, Four and the other monoids who left with him walk into an ambush set up by one and some of the others on the way to the landers. I don't know how one and the others got there to set up the ambush before Four and his group did, since like Four's group all left to the landers and then one's like, let's go fuck them up. But somehow they set up an ambush. One forbids them from returning to the Ark, and Four's like, fuck you, and a fight breaks out.
Dang.
A couple of monoids get zapped with heat prods, and the remaining monoids all either flee or hide as a landing module comes in for a landing. Maharis exits this lander and sees one hiding in the bushes and calls to him, and one immediately kills Maharis.
Oh shit.
And then some other monoid shoots some other monoid.
Wow, this is a violent episode.
Uh-huh. Dasek leads the rest of the human landing party in, like, sneaking out of the lander instead of just, like, strolling out and announcing themselves to the nearest monoid, like
that
Maharis
seems like a
did.
better option.
Uh-huh. And the monoids are all distracted by fighting each other, so it's a pretty easy sneak check. The humans all get out successfully.
Cool.
Dasek arrives at the castle, where he tells the monoid guarding Dodo and the Doctor that one needs its help. For some reason, this monoid believes him.
Nice.
And as soon as it's gone, the Doctor tells Dasek that they know where the bomb is and they need to get a warning out immediately. Dasek basically lets them know that there's a bunch of infighting happening with the monoids, so there might not be very many monoids left, which the Doctor thinks is splendid.
Cool. I suspect the number of monoids who are left may correspond to the number of monoids that we've ever seen on the screen at the same time.
At one time, we see another monoid get killed, and when Dodo and Dasek and the Doctor all arrive at the lander, there's basically like a bunch of dead monoid bodies like all around.
Dang.
Four seems to be the only one in the area left alive, and he's basically like dropping the heat prod in horror as Dodo and Dasek and the Doctor board the lander.
In horror, like, what have we become? That sort of thing.
Yeah, like, what have I done? What have we become?
We're killing our own kind.
Dasik prepares to launch this lander while the Doctor begins attempting to contact Steven. We cut up to the Ark, and it must be a few minutes later because Steven is now explaining to Venusa that the bomb is in the head of the statue.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's concerned because the statue is so heavy. Apparently one's plan actually is a concern. Mm-hmm. Steven points out that, like, they only need to get it from where it is into the launching bay of the ship. You know, then they can just, like, space it, basically.
Cool.
But she says that they don't even have any equipment that could do that.
Huh.
They then hear the voice of the Refusian.
I think I can help you. Clear this main deck.
Very cool. Glad we brought you along. Not that we had much choice, I think.
So they cleared the deck. Once the deck is clear, the statue floats up off the ground and starts moving.
The whole thing, not just the head?
Yeah, the entire... There's actually a really cool shot where the camera starts focused on the head and, you know, it kind of moves up. But, like, as the statue is moving up, the camera is slowly panning down the statue, and, like, we clearly see that there are not any wires or anything attached, and it pans down the entire length of the statue, and we actually see, like, the base of the statue prop floating in the air. It was a really cool practical effect.
Special effects.
So I'm pretty sure what happened is, you know, first they were, like, lifting the statue from below with their hand-off camera, the prop master. And then, you know, as the camera pans down, they, like, grabbed the top of the statue and removed their lower hand and, like, continued lifting it.
What clever TV magic.
It was really neat. I liked that effect a lot. So we watch Stevenusa as they watch the statue float into the launching bay. You know, we saw the statue, like, take off, but then from there we just get reaction shots as the statue floats into the launching bay, and then we get an exterior shot of the ship as the statue, like, tips and falls out of the launching bay and floats a little ways away into space and then explodes.
Nice.
Sometime later, the humans are discussing their plans to settle Refusis with the help of the Refusians, but the Refusian says that they'll only help if the humans make peace with the monoids.
Yeah, I kind of wish that the humans had offered that on their own, but okay, I guess.
The Doctor also chimes in here.
He's right. A long time ago, your ancestors accepted the responsibility for the welfare of these monoids. They were treated like slaves. So no wonder when they got the chance, they repaid you in kind.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Doctor didn't treat them super great either. But he did say...
Yeah, he was pretty condescending toward them.
Maybe that was supposed to be him, like, realizing that there's more to them than would be implied by the way that the humans on the Ark had treated them up to that point.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like in, you know, the second episode, the one that's helping the Doctor, and he's like, oh, you're so smart and so capable. Like, yeah, it just felt really condescending.
Yeah. I mean, the Doctor being condescending is not limited to anyone, really. It's pretty
That's
universal,
fair.
But still.
That's fair. The Doctor being condescending is
in the context.
Is not necessarily the Doctor being racist. It's just him.
Yeah. Still not a great look, though.
So they all get on a cart that drives them off to the Ark's jungle set, while Venusa and Dasik wonder whether they'll ever see them again, or if their children or their children's children will. and they watch on one of the scanner screens as the TARDIS dematerializes.
And then the words on the screen say?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
They're actually giving us a cliffhanger this time. I know they don't always do that at the end of serials. We cut to the TARDIS control room. It is clearly some time later because Steven reports that they're about to land, and he and Dodo have both changed outfits.
Cool.
So Steven is now wearing sort of a tight long sleeve shirt with black sleeves and thick black and white stripes down the whole chest length.
Kind of referee core, it sounds like.
Yeah. And Dodo is in a light colored tank top with a dark colored sort of like donut or bagel shape in the middle.
Okay.
And a knee length dark colored skirt with a bunch of similar donut or bagel shapes in a light color and a newsboy cap.
So she's in a tank top. Does that mean that we can like fully see her shoulders and everything?
I think so, if I remember right.
My goodness. Teenagers these days.
She thinks it's fab. Steven agrees.
Yes, it's been established that she uses this hip lingo, much to the Doctor's annoyance.
The Doctor sneezes, and Dodo and Steven kind of start to joke about maybe he's got a cold now, and they look over at him, and they see that he's sort of fading in and out of visibility.
Oh, shit.
And then he vanishes entirely, although they can still hear his voice. They wonder if it's somehow related to the Refusians, but the Doctor doesn't think so.
This is something far more serious. We're in grave danger. This is some form of attack.
Oh, dang. It's not an STI from that hot Refusian that he flew up on the landing craft with.
Uh-huh.
And with that, the words appear on the screen.
Next episode, The Celestial Toy Room.
Oh, cool. That sounds great. Sounds like a fun toy room to be in. I'm sure our heroes will have a great time.
Yeah, it's nice that they'll have a serial that's just about, like, hanging out and playing with toys and having fun.
But what if they're the toys? Dun, dun, dun. Well, cool. That was a fun one. Little colonialism, little looking down on people who don't look like us, being kind of condescending toward them, but that's, unfortunately, I'm not trying to excuse it, but it is kind of par for the course for this show. We had some fun aliens and stuff. So yeah, Kyle, now that we've reached the end of the serial, won't you tell our beloved listeners, we value their time. Would you recommend that they check this one out?
So yeah, this was a fun serial. I really liked how it kind of sort of seems like it's going to be a two-parter, just like wrapped up real quick. But then we get like the 700-year skip into the future. And then the second half is like almost a whole different serial.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a way it was kind of like two-parters, which was fun. The whole serial, but probably particularly the second half, is full of a lot of fun visual effects. I mentioned, only one or two of them, but there were a lot of other fun moments visually that I didn't mention. So
Cool.
Well done, director Michael Imeson. I'm sorry someone at the BBC ended your directing career after this serial.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, and as we've talked about a few times, this entire serial actually exists in real, actual episodes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I'm getting at is that, yes, I would say that this is a good one to watch.
Yay! All right, well, I've already watched half of it, so I might watch the other half at some point.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to it. And I'm curious why the Doctor's fading in and out.
So a couple last things I wanted to mention about this serial. I mentioned the good special effects. I also wanted to mention one that was not great because it was just a little bit mistimed, was the explosion of the statue.
Interesting.
Yeah, we see the statue floating through space, and then we see the statue disappear, and then an explosion happens like immediately after.
Oh, fun.
So they just got like the timing of the explosion just slightly wrong. Apparently, Michael Emerson, the director, wanted to keep the statue prop, which is totally fair. It was a cool prop. So they didn't want to like explode the statue itself.
Well, maybe that's why they fired him.
And my final note is that we have often shaken our fists at producer John Wiles.
Yeah.
For many reasons, including firing Vicky and not employing the telesnap guy. This is the last serial that John Wiles produced.
All right, well, we'll shake our fists one last time and say, John!
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 John! Yeah, after this, we're going to be on to a new producer, Innes Lloyd.
Oh, what a cool name. I'm sure that we will have no reason to dislike Guinness Lloyd.
Innes.
There seem to be some questionable decisions going on at the BBC around this time, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. We'd like to thank Circuits23 for the amazing theme song that he made for us. You can check out his album on Bandcamp and check him out on SoundCloud, or email him at circuit.23@gmail.com. Thank you, Kyle, for watching Doctor Who and telling me all about it.
And thank you, Benny, for listening to me talk all about Doctor Who.
And thank you, listeners, for listening to me, listening to Kyle talk about Doctor Who. We'd love to hear from you, so email us at thedoctorswatcher@gmail.com, or you can Twitter at us if you're still on the Twitter, through the socials, etc. We're at Dr. Watcher, yeah.
Yeah, if you add us, I'll probably see it eventually.
Yeah. Anyway, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and tell a friend. And then we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll disappear for now and then reappear in 2 weeks for the next episode. Bye.
Come play with us in the Celestial Toy Room.
Yes.
Bye.
What has happened? Why does 2 no longer give us his report? I don't know. It could mean a simple break in communications, or that he was attacked. But his report of conditions on the planet Refusa started favorably. Yes. Then what do we do, 1? We will proceed with our plans. We will prepare ourselves for the main landings. 1 has spoken. Get the launchers ready and prepare the monoid population trays for the journey.